I often get clients that come in that are selling their business to someone and they're asked, okay, well, who owns the company? And their usual response is, well, I own the whole company, or my wife and I own the company. Okay, well, the attorneys involved in the deal are going to say, prove it. Like, how can you show what you own in this company? So, how exactly does one show ownership in an LLC or a corporation? So, the old school way was to physically print out if you can see that, it's a stock certificate. So it'd have the name of the company, the name of the shareholder, number of shares, when it was issued, it would be signed by someone at the company, and you would hold on to this as your proof of ownership of that company. And when you go to sell it, on the back, there is a form called a stock power. You'd basically fill that out and sign saying, I'm transferring it or selling it to somebody else. And here's a sample of one. I blacked out the name, but filled in with someone's name, basically the number of shares they own, the name of the corporation, when it was issued. So that was the traditional way. Now the company itself is supposed to keep records, so that they would also show, yes, we issued stock certificate number 8 to so and so on this day for 3,000 shares of stock. And so the company, if you went to them, they would say, okay, here's our corporate records, and it shows all these stock certificates that were issued and who owns the stock of the company. And when you think about your brokerage account, for example, okay, well, I own shares in Facebook. How do I prove that? It's all electronic for most of those. And if you transfer or sell, it's usually done through DTC, Depository Trust Company, that does electronic transfers, either between brokerages or however the transfer takes place. So you never, when you buy stock in a brokerage account or investment account, nobody's usually sending you a physical stock certificate, although they used to a long time ago. So when you have a small private company, you may also not have these. You may do it electronically. You may track it on a ledger online, any transfers, and that can also often be enough as long as there's some kind of proof. But in an LLC, you can issue a membership certificate as well. Typically, in an LLC's operating agreement, on towards the back, the most common forms, the last page will have a list of the owners, the member schedule. And it'll say their name, their address, what they own. And this will normally be the way that you'll show who owns what in your LLC. So anyone who has an LLC, and when I ask them, where's your operating agreement or company agreement? And they say, oh, we never put one together. Well, how do you know who owns what? You've got 4 partners in this LLC, and you've never done anything to document who owns it. So it's always a good idea to make sure that you have an operating agreement in the first place for an LLC, and it has the list of the current owners listed as an attachment or somewhere in there. A corporation, there's corporate records, and whether you do it electronically or if you actually fill out stock certificates, make sure those are up to date so that you can show, okay, well, we issued this stock to this person, and let's say they don't have it, they can fill out an affidavit saying that they lost it. There's other ways to take care of it, but you do want to document how you own your company. That's very important, especially when you go to sell, because attorneys on both sides of the deal are going to be asking, where's your stock certificates? Where's your stock ledger or your record books to show who owns the company, to make sure that when you sell the company, if someone's buying your company, they want to make sure that they bought 100%, that there's not some random shareholder out there that's going to show up and say, hey, I've got a stock certificate and you guys never paid me, and I own 10% of that company. So as a buyer, that's a huge concern, that they want to make sure that there's no stragglers out there, and that they've purchased every stockholder if they're doing a stock purchase. So make sure that you document everything, and make sure to subscribe to this YouTube series.